Yo, everybody, this is the We Believe You podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Cole Smith, with my co host over here, Lonnie Jean Smith. Say hi, Lonnie.
Hello.
How's everybody doing tonight? It's been a minute since we've done one of these, but we're going to jump into it with some cool stories today. Cool things to talk about. We got another personal story. It's kind of like one of the last big ones that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So, you guys, if you've listened to all these, you got a good idea of the weirdos that we are kind of by now. But after this one, we're going to kind of be transitioning to more into other people's stories. And got some cool people we're going to be talking to. This podcast is sponsored by the Treehouse Joint. Check them out on Instagram or treehousejoint.com. It's an awesome cannabis-friendly and cannabis-encouraged like a treehouse Airbnb. Lonnie here, she sent me there for my birthday this year. We had a real good time. It was super cool. Tracy takes care of you.
It was a lot of fun. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it's if you want to smoke weed and play with a pig or a donkey or cool dogs. Shit, they have a parrot there. I don't like the birds, but that's just me. Parrots freak me out. Just all kind of birds freak me out, really in general. You might be able to hear our dogs in the background scarfing some bones. We got far away from them. But yeah, first thing I wanted to jump into was Mel's Hole.
Mel's Hole.
Mel's Hole, real good name. It's in Ellensburg, Washington, which kind of is where Lonnie and I should have met. We both went to college out at Central Washington University, which is out at Mel's Hole, or out in Ellensburg, and Mel's Hole's in Ellensburg. But it's something that I was living there 5 years. I had never heard of. You've never heard of it.
I have never heard of this.
It's in like every strange Washington, or like anytime there's like a weird, like something weird that the town's known for, Ellensburg is always Mel's Hole. And it's supposedly like, it's like a 10-foot around hole that's bottomless.
Yeah, I'm looking at photos online. I don't like it.
Yeah. And so it's supposedly like a bottomless hole that people have put up. Supposedly one guy sent down 15 miles worth of fishing line and they never hit the bottom.
What?
Yeah, and I don't know if it's on public or private property. It's probably on private property. Yeah, it's weird because I never heard anybody ever mention it when we were out there, and like something that I've come across in my research from time to time. Mm-hmm. But some guy said he saw like lights shooting out of it. Another guy claims to have thrown his dead dog down the hole, and then a few days later, his dog came walking out of the woods and was alive. And so
I think that's true. More people would throw their dead animals down it.
Yeah, I mean,
I would.
Yeah, we should have took Louie there.
I would have taken Louie there.
But that was good water. But yeah, I think that's super weird. If anybody listening out there has ever heard of it or been there, I want to know. I want to hear some stories. But like, it's just one of those weird things that keeps popping up. So I figured I'd talk about it.
Yeah, this guy says he's claimed rural property outside of Ellensburg that contained a mysterious hole.
I wonder if it's out by like Monastash Ridge or I don't know.
It's called Mel's Hole because the owner identified as Mel Waters appeared as a guest on a AM radio and talked about it.
Huh. Yeah, it's super weird. I mean, yeah, I'm interested to throw a dead animal in there and see what happens.
Yeah, there's kind of like a legend, it looks like.
It's a legend
like
that
an urban legend or something of Ellensburg.
Yeah, that I've never heard. I've literally never heard a person mention it.
The Daily Record was trying to get to the bottom of it.
Oh shit. That'd be so funny. They send out like a college intern. Never hear from him. Never hear from him again.
It's pretty creepy looking.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. And like, yeah, a lot of weird things involved with it. But I mean, Yeah, until we can see it. Next time, we should try to hunt it out next time we go out to your parents' house. Lonnie's parents actually live out in Ellensburg. So it'd be awesome to go see, just throw a rock down it, honestly. But I'm scared of heights and like.
Why do I look things up? Because now I'm just getting disappointed. They're like, it's geologically impossible. Yeah.
Well, fuck those haters.
I'm gonna believe it's bottomless.
Oh yeah. So yeah,
that would be so weird, like a bottomless hole, but like kind of like space, you know? Like who's to say that? Okay, now I'm going in my own little like weird rabbit hole of my brain.
I'd love to see where this direction goes.
I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead.
No, you can finish.
No, I don't want to.
Okay, space and the hole.
Yeah, but like, okay, so so like you're in the world. You're on. Okay, we're on the world.
Yeah.
And so we're on top of it. But who's to say that inside there of the world isn't like another like.
So
existence. So like
what you're referring to is a commonly talked about thing called Hollow Earth.
Oh no! Am I there?
Yeah, you just stumbled into a quote unquote conspiracy that even like the flat earthers are like, no, those people are retarded.
Oh no!
But honestly, Hollow Earth makes more sense than flat Earth.
Seriously.
Because, fucking caves exist.
Yeah.
But well, they get real deep. Like I saw one guy talking about Hollow Earth where he's like, no animal goes extinct. They all just go down to Hollow Earth. And it's like, yeah, okay, fucking spaceman.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that. Okay, my mind was just going other places, but I will stop now.
It's totally something I didn't talk with you about before this at all. I watched a video today of a dude claiming to be a time traveler from 2030.
Aw, how's he doing?
He's doing all right. He pulled out what he called a nanotechnology that is more advanced than anything that we know, and he had like a jar that was filled with this like liquid black, like it looked like slime,
like tar or molasses.
Yeah, it kind of looked like tar, like a big jar, like black honey. And it like
molasses.
When he moved it, it like looked like it was fluid. But then he poured it on, and it was like a jelly, but it wasn't sticky. I have no idea what it was. I mean, I don't believe this dude was a time traveler at all. But he was like, he talked the fun game. It was an interesting watch. I highly suggest people go look it up. Just time traveler with nanotechnology. But he like showed a map of what the USA supposedly looks like in 2030, and like a lot of Florida and the west coast of California is like a lot of that beachfront's gone, and he was talking about how by 2030 there's a lot more people living in the ocean or on the ocean, and I thought that was actually kind of interesting.
Like with makeshift islands?
See, he didn't say, but honestly, like. It really wouldn't be an illogical or impossible thought to think that people would start to like go to that kind of community. Like, I mean,
we saw that on those extreme houses. That guy basically created his own ecosystem on an island that he made out of using old bottles.
Yeah, that was just
everything.
Like a recycling one. Like now, imagine you have money and like access to things.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think like a cruise line is just like a city on the ocean.
With neurovirus.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, or like Air Force, aircraft carriers and shit like that. Mm-hmm. Those like host like little mini cities. So to think that like more people would start going that route isn't like, an impossible thought, but the guy didn't really provide much of anything as far as info.
My mind immediately went on to Xenon.
Xenon, that
remember?
Sounds
but that's when they had like the spaceships and they were in their own like little galaxy.
Yeah. Oh shit.
Xenon and then Xenon the sequel.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little Galaxy Girl.
Yeah, she always had like the silver shiny pants. I liked those. I wanted some.
Yeah. But, yeah, he was showing this like putty. And he was like playing with it, but it definitely looked weird. I was but he said he couldn't zoom in on it because you'd be able to like see because it's nanobots. And so he'd be like, he said just by looking at it, people will be able to like reverse engineer and know. And he's like, and it's not a technology that exists yet, so it's like he can't put it into like. So by time traveler rule, you're not supposed to affect what's going on, and so yeah, I don't know. But he said in his next video, he's gonna show his time machine, which is where I'm invested. And like, I summed this up pretty quick. I listened to this motherfucker talk for 15 minutes. The whole time,
a lot of time in your day.
And the whole time I'm thinking, like, this guy's not actually a time traveler, but let's hear what he has to say. So I guess in this case, I don't believe you, bro. Show me that time machine.
Want to see that time machine?
God, I would fucking love to talk to someone who thinks they're a time traveler.
Like, you know those photos of like the celebrities that like they're oh, look at these time travelers.
There's some good ones.
There's some really crazy ones.
Like some of it.
Like Jay-Z.
Yeah, that's
a crazy one.
That one is super spot on.
There was another one. Who was it? It was another comedian or a comedian or something, and it was just like, whoa.
I don't know. Like I've seen. There's a lot of things that have gone around, like not just like time travelers, but like celebrities being clones of famous people from the past, and so there's been a lot of things like that where like they compare people's pictures comparatively, and it's just like a lot of doppelganger kind of shit where it's just like people from the past looking exactly like people now. Like people were trying to say in the conspiracy world like Obama was a clone of like some old pharaoh, and it's just like no, it's like people still just kind of look the same. There's only so many versions, only so many face shapes.
Dang, when you Google this, even JTT's got one.
JTT? Oh man, love that guy.
Or not JTT.
Not JTT? Who?
I'm thinking Justin Timberlake.
Oh, Justin Timberlake, yeah.
My other boyfriend.
Man. Yeah, Justin Timberlake. He's a pretty man. I did not like his new record, though.
Oh my gosh, that's one of Ellen DeGeneres. It's hilarious. Anyways, yeah, so
I've seen
those photos are
there's actually, like, if you look, there's a lot of threads, like pictures from the past that captured time travelers in it. And a lot of them are just, like, people holding their hands to like their ear and it's like, oh look, someone's on a cell phone.
Yeah.
But there's one where the dude up front, like in one of the pictures, he looks like something straight out of like the mid 2000s. It's like sunglasses.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Guy's wearing a fucking hoodie. Like,
that's
here,
crazy.
watch the mic.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, isn't that nuts? Like, that's the one picture where, I don't know enough about Photoshop to, like, ever say if something was Photoshopped or not. The general rule of thumb is, like, anytime something looks too real, the Photoshop world just starts claiming it's fake. Like, Elon Musk from Tesla, he launched his one of his cars into space last year with a dummy in it. You remember that? And it's like floating in space right now. And he was like playing Rocket Man and shit when he went out. But Elon Musk, like literally on the record, was like, it's real because it looks so fake. And that sent the fucking conspiracy world spiraling out of control. They're like, see? They already think, like, when I was hanging out with Eddie Bravo a couple weeks ago, like he was trying to get me to say, he's like, you're not married to the ball, are you? Like, meaning, like, do I think Earth is round or not? I'm like, yeah, dude. I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
So you could call me a ball.
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, it's like,
Neil, shaped like
Neil deGrasse Tyson said that the Earth is an oblong spheroid. And so I'll take that. I'll take that explanation. But I'm still waiting for that for a reality show to start where flat earthers get on a cruise ship and then set out to find the edge of the world. But the only problem is they would find like Antarctica and be like, oh, there's the ice wall we've talked about, and then they like wouldn't go around it. They would just come right back.
But I love it. I never watched that full documentary on the flat earthers on Netflix, but just the ending when you showed me and they're doing an experiment and they're like, this will show us if Earth is flat. And then they're doing it and they're like, huh.
Yeah. I love it. They're like
weird.
using this laser.
It's like not
at this
showing them the Earth is round.
For those of you who haven't seen it, the flat earthers are like, all right, this experiment is going to definitively prove the Earth is flat. So we have this high-powered laser, and if we put it at 17 feet, and we and then they parked a car like I don't know how far away, and then they had a car or like a piece of wood that they drilled a hole into, and they said, since the world is flat, I'll shine this laser through this hole at 17 feet. And if the Earth is curved, it won't go through that hole until 24 feet. And then so they set it all up, and at 17 feet, they can't see the laser. They don't know where it is. So they bump it up to 24 feet, and the laser comes out and goes right through the hole. And they're like, interesting.
Something's off.
Something's off. It's like, no, the Earth is fucking round, you ignorant piece of shit.
I just love that that's how the documentary ended.
And, like, it just shows, like, I was so fucking embarrassed that, like, one of the main guys in the Flat Earth movement is from Washington. He's from Whidbey Island. Which makes sense. Or was it Vashon? I think it was Whidbey, one of the two. But it's like, God, he still lives with his mom, and his mom's, like, so fucking embarrassed. Yeah. It's just, like, so fucking funny. And then, like, you can tell the dude's in love with, like, this other Flat Earth lady who... her name is Patricia, and a lot of people in the Flat Earth movement think that she's a plant by the government because Patricia's code, because the last 3 letters of her name are CIA.
That's so sneaky of them.
I know. It's just like...
Let's just drop subtle hints and...
It's like, people are getting so ridiculous. The conspiracy world is just nuts. Like, I'm part of it. Like, big time, but, like, the rational kind. It's like, I like Ron
So you like going down those rabbit holes.
I do, but, like, if you're going to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole, like, it's funny, like, people start thinking, oh, everything I've ever been told was a lie. But this right here, this is true. And these people are here to tell me the truth. It's like, no one's telling the truth. You got to do a whole lot of research before you even get, like, a glimmer of truth.
Yeah.
And most of the time, even then, like, the smartest thing anyone can do is admit that they don't know shit.
I am not afraid to admit that.
Yeah, for sure. That's why we're on a podcast talking about fucking ghosts.
Yeah.
But, okay, we're going to move on to the next story. We're a tangent there.
We're a tangent. Anyways.
This is something we got permission to read off of the hardcore paranormal group on Facebook. I highly suggest if you like weird shit, joining that group. It's like actually really positive. It's one of the only groups that I'm on Facebook that isn't just like people talking shit to each other constantly. Like there's a lot of fun talks about ghosts and other supernatural and shit, like stuff like that. And so yeah, this is a story from someone named Erica, and she gave us permission to read it.
So Erica posted this at 12:20 a.m. on March 14th. Again, from the Hardcore Paranormal group on Facebook. So I'm gonna read this. It's kind of long, so bear with me if I start to lisp.
It's been a long day for both of us. It's been a long
day. So she prefaces this with posting for some help, try to figure out what's going on in my new house and how I can put an end to it. So Erica goes on to write, we just moved into a new home. It was built in the 1910s. It's been condemned for many years, newly renovated, and we are the first people to move in for a very, very long time. At first I was laughing it off, but this is the 3rd night in a row that my son told me there were monsters upstairs. He doesn't speak very well, but he literally says, "No, don't go, monsters upstairs," and doesn't want to go to bed alone anymore. He doesn't want to be in his room alone. This is new behavior for him, and he seems genuinely scared. My things keep being moved, my phone, my cigarettes, car keys, etc. I specifically set something somewhere, and then after I put my son to sleep and shut his door, it's moved to an odd spot. My lighters keep disappearing from my pockets. Never been an issue before in my 10 years of smoking. Tonight I felt like I was being watched. I was on the phone with my fiance while she slept for hours. When I thought, okay, I'm getting spooked now, what is this presence I'm feeling? All the lights flickered, the TV stopped working, and my PS3 turned off simultaneously. About 5 seconds later, I heard the beeping from my phone and it said call failed. Girlfriend has gone until Friday because she took her pit bull to live with her mom out of state. But 2 or 3 nights ago, the dog kept growling at my son's bedroom door in the middle of the night. Now the dog isn't here, so I'm even more creeped out. I can just feel myself being watched, specifically when my son is in the bed late at night and I'm sitting on the couch. I feel like I'm being stared at from toward his bedroom. Also, 2 nights ago, I specifically recall going around the house and turning all the lights off. My girlfriend gets pissed when I leave the lights on, and she was working an overnight. When she came home from work, she was mad that all the lights were on downstairs. They were not on when I went to sleep. I seen things moving out of the corner of my eye, although I may just be paranoid at this point. I felt my bed shake while laying in it. I'm trying my best not to be scared, but I can't sleep at night anymore. We've been in the home since the 1st of the month. So they've been in the house for 2 weeks now.
Yeah, that's...
And their son is scared and things are disappearing or moving.
Yeah, that's just...
So I would like to go on and read some of the feedback that some people have left her, but I'm not part of the group.
Yeah, I don't have any of the real feedback that people were given. Just kind of, that story is definitely creepy to me. Everything about little kids just creeps me out. It's like, it's one of my biggest fears, like when we have a kid and all of a sudden they start seeing something. It's like, we're going to believe that kid.
Well, if it's been condemned for so long and then remodeled, we watch Ghost Adventures and like ghost shows and stuff. And it's like, any sort of disturbance can kind of bring things back, kind of like wake it up almost. And so maybe, I don't know,
especially when it comes to like the stone tape theory that like wood and ground and concrete can absorb energy and like almost like has memories in a lot of ways too. Like if you repurpose that wood and like rebuild up on a spot and change everything, that can definitely, I could think, like disrupt energy, change that, piss off some ghosts.
Well, and that's the thing too, like with kids, like a lot of people, that's what creeps obviously both of us out most about kids is them having that ability to like see or whatever, like, and I don't know, and then Erica being able to have like feel unsettled, like feel like somebody's watching her.
I know that feeling so well. I'm just like feeling something, looking at it, and you can like feel where it's coming from.
Oh yeah, there's been times I've been home alone, a lot in my days, and there's been nights where I'm like completely fine. I can turn all the lights off in the house and I can sleep with it completely silent, no music on, no TV on, and be completely fine. And then there's nights where I'm like, I'm going to leave the front porch light on, I'm going to keep this light on, something's staring at me from that corner, I'm just going to turn on the TV.
This house that we're living in now, like, kind of lucky in the fact that like I don't really ever get that feeling, and when I do, it's like I always feel like it's coming from like the backyard, like over the fence.
Yeah.
And so in that case, like I don't think ghost, I think like transient, like greenbelt person walking through and
just taking a peek.
Yeah, we used to have that laser light shooting out into the backyard until the cops made me take it down. We had some of those lazy lights, and so it's like, since we're the only people that have that, you could probably pick our house out of all the houses, which,
Well,
drama.
my only suggestion to Erica would be to um, sage the house and say a couple, like sage prayers while cleaning out the energy and hopefully putting good energy and good vibes in the house.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like, your fear is just going to keep building and it's not going to help the situation if you start freaking yourself out even more.
Yeah.
It's going to cause you to hear any sound and automatically assume it's something.
Yeah.
Pipes move and make noise. The houses do,
Yeah.
breathe in a way of making noise. And so and I've been to that point where I've been so scared that I've been like, every single sound is something coming to get me. But it's like you kind of have to take that step back and try to like cleanse yourself, cleanse the house, and try to put positive vibes and energy back in.
Yeah, for sure. And since we're on the topic of like ghosts and children, we watched a fun. You guys, it probably made its rounds if you are like into the paranormal scene at all, which you're listening to us, so there has to be some interest. There's a pretty hilarious news story going around of a couple. I mean, it's not hilarious; it's very sad. But a couple that has video footage from their crib cam.
Yeah, nanny. It says the title on YouTube is Michigan couple says ghost seen on nanny cam scratched infant daughter.
Yeah, and so it goes in, talks about the family a little bit and shows the video footage. And the video footage is creepy because the baby stands up in its crib and it's like looking around, but then there's a shadow of something walking through this living room, and unless it was one of the parents doing like faking it for attention.
I don't know. The way that it looks, it's hard to say that it's like a solid figure, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it looks like something like definitely an apparition just walking through the fucking room.
Like, it looks like a person, but when you're like at home and like somebody comes through with headlights and you can see it moving and you can like, it's like you can see the light, but like obviously you like, I don't know what I'm saying. Like, you can see how the light is shining in. It almost looks like that. It's like you can see it, but it's see-through.
Yeah.
It's not a solid figure.
Yeah. It's kind of, it could have been a shadow, like, from, like, what you're saying. Like, kind of like when we were driving to the cabin and we both, like, thought we saw Bigfoot.
I think we saw Bigfoot.
No. Well, I mean, we both immediately knew because, like, I was like, oh.
Yeah. So
and then you're like, what? And I'm like, nothing. And you're like, did you think? Like, you immediately knew what I thought because, like, but it was our headlight going across the tree
our headlights, like, it was so dark out when we're driving, and the headlights, where we're driving, it's all woods, it's all forest and so trees. So the way that the headlights hit a tree, the shadow of the tree moved, and the way that it moved,
it was the stereotypical silhouette.
It
of
looked like
a
Sasquatch, or like Bigfoot was like walking out from behind the tree. And how we both saw it, I don't know, but Steven made like a weird noise.
like pure excitement.
And I go, what? And because I don't want to say what I saw. And then he goes, it's nothing. And that's when I go, oh, did you think you saw Bigfoot? And he was like, how did you know? And I was like, I thought I saw Bigfoot too.
But like, I know for a fact though that it was just the light going around that corner. Like, we both knew that, but like, so that's what it could be.
But like,
maybe.
Do we know that?
No. But I think that is an option for what was in that video. But then like the mom ran up and like got the kid, and the head was like scratched, and the mom said she's like woke up being choked and she's been scratched. And then I guess somebody said that this is where it just kind of gets goofy because like it could be the angry ghost of someone who committed suicide by jumping out the window, but it's like they essentially live in like a tool shed. Yeah,
it looks like a shed.
And like
it looks like I don't like to judge how people live. My house is dirty right now,
Yeah.
But like this is like almost hoarder status
where it's like shit everywhere.
Some of the comments are pretty funny. If you should go on and read them yourself, but it's like nobody could walk through there without tripping.
Yeah, it had to have been a ghost because no one else could walk through without falling over. But yeah, it was definitely
it's the trending one right now.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, they said someone like jumped out, but it's like a first story, like the window's 4 feet high or 3 feet high. So unless someone like cut their throat open while jumping through the glass, I don't see how someone could kill themselves jumping out it.
No.
But
I'm pretty sure is this Kalamazoo, Michigan?
I think so.
Yeah. Little
But,
little town.
but you know, I give them
Yeah.
some credit because they look like people that we probably would be friends with.
Exactly.
But yeah, that was a funny one. So we had a good time laughing, even though we shouldn't. You know, if it is a ghost and that baby's being scratched, they should.
Yeah, if that's
They
the
should
issue, then that's definitely not cool. Like
That's-
that, we're not laughing at that. Just
I am a little bit.
no, I'm not laughing at a baby being
I don't care.
hurt.
About,
I'm
I
laughing
don't
at the
care
fact
about your
that,
fucking kids. I'm gonna fall off a bike for
like,
all I care.
let's just put it this way: if the news was coming to my house, I would pick up a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll just put it out there like that.
I'd have my bong all nice and clean. Like
my God.
I have a feeling their bong was real dirty.
That's the one thing they did put away for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that leading into more fun stories.
Yeah, so this is definitely an interesting one for me. It's primarily kind of I think my fault for this is I've mentioned before in one of the earlier podcasts, I think maybe even the first one, that I'm not sold on ghosts being like the spirit of the dead in every situational case, if that makes sense. I think that very well could be something that exists, but I believe like a lot of shadow figures or things that actually have a voice or manipulation of this dimension and reality are more likely to be interdimensional beings that we can't exactly just see with our limited senses. You know, and a lot of people write that off as like phooey shit, but there's lights we can't see, there's sounds we can't hear. Like our brains are crafted to experience our reality in a strange way. So to me, if light and sound, which are both like forms of energy and can exist and not be perceived by, you know, the human eyes or sixth sense or five. How many senses do we have? Five senses. That if energy is matter as well, then there can be things that we can't perceive, and our brains also shut out things that are there that it just like doesn't want to see, that aren't like necessary to our brain's a fascinating fucking thing. But so a few years ago, I went to do a float tank for the first time. And like that's sensory deprivation. For those of you who don't know, you go and you get into a small-ish kind of big pod thing that the water is heated to your body's temperature, and there's a whole lot of salt in the water, so you are buoyant enough that you float on top. Though you can't. I mean, you can still sort of hear things. Like every now and then, you hear the fucking like cleaning guy cleaning the thing next to you, but like you can't see anything. It's pitch black, and so you go and you get in this thing totally naked, and then it's in a lot of ways it's like skipping a couple steps of meditation. Like it just makes, because when you for people who actually practice meditation, to get to the point where you're able to forget about things and like get like limit your senses, it's very difficult to do, because like as we're sitting here right now, like you don't realize it, but you feel the chair on your body. You feel your clothes.
I feel my blankie.
Yeah, you feel your blanket on you. Like you feel yourself breathing, talking, and so when you're in the tank, it's like you don't have those things. And I've been meditating since I was like 23 on and off. And so like I felt like I was kind of prepared for the experience. But I went in, and a lot of people don't believe me when I say this, but I went in completely sober. I didn't smoke any weed before doing it the first time because I wanted to get like the real effect. And I stayed in the tank for a little bit
Which
longer.
you were advised to do that anyways. They're like, you want to be completely sober to experience this.
And so when I went in there and I got in, I actually was allowed to, I was the only one there, so he let me stay like an extra 20 minutes. So I did like an hour and 20 in the tank. And like the first 15 minutes, it was just kind of like me kind of getting used to it because it was weird.
Right.
Because it happened so quickly, like your loss of feeling, that like the first thing I began to experience was the loss of like body, and it was like it was just like all you were was your breathing and your consciousness, and I just became the vast darkness of the space that I was in. And then, so that was like the first step, and I was like, oh, that's fucking weird, because it was like psychedelic, but not like you're totally sober. So then I was just focusing on my breathing, letting all my thoughts just sort of fade away. And then I got to a point where like I started to see like a big, dark, glowing orb way off in the distance, but it was like dark. It was
So darker
than it was either lighter than the dark or darker than the dark.
that
But
you were already in.
yeah, and so
Huh.
yeah, and it was just like weird, and I'm like, whoa, shit. And there was kind of like more of them off in the distance, but one just seemed closer. So I was like, fuck, I'm gonna try to go there. And so like as I'm like projecting myself consciously through, I literally felt like I was going through space, and then my thought was that I'm seeing a star, because when you're in space, you don't see the light of a star unless it has something to reflect off of. And so that's why, we get light on Earth, but there's no light in space. Is because the light doesn't stop until it hits something. So I felt like I was seeing something that was radiating energy and light, but I had no source of reflection, if that makes sense. And then, so as I'm like heading there, that's when kind of off to like the upper part of and I have my eyes open at this point. And closed or open didn't make any difference. But I started to see, I think it was like about 3 to 5 shadow figures, but just kind of like the top half of them, but like totally just the silhouettes of some things that were fucking huge, far away, but they were like watching me. And I just got this vibe like
with like a head and shoulders.
Yeah, there was like a head and shoulders, arms, but like nothing. It was almost like being looked at like if you were looking up from an operating table and something was like looking down at you. But like I didn't feel it wasn't scary. I was just like, oh shit. It literally just felt like I was being observed, and something was like, oh shit, like first try. What's up with this dude?
Something was as curious as
Yeah, it was like, what's up with this guy? And like, because this is also like kind of, I had started my like psychedelic and like spiritual awakening like within the year or two before this, and so it was a natural progression to hit this float tank. But then, as I'm getting closer and closer to what I just call a star, like the music started to come up that like wakes you up out of like your
meditation.
And I was like, no, like it can't end right now. And then I just like stayed in, and like that's when I got my extra time. I just stayed in there.
Even with the music playing, were you still able to focus?
Not as much.
I feel like once you have something
yeah,
like with some sort of interruption, it's almost like you lose it.
Yeah, and so that's when I got out, and I went and you got to like shower off. Yeah. I made the mistake of wiping my forehead with like my hoodie, just because it was there, and it was like, but then there's so much salt that like it like stained my hoodie. So beginner's mistake. But I went showered, and then like as soon as I got out, my body was tingling so hard. It was like the first time I ever like smoked opium, which like I didn't mean to smoke opium the first time I did it. The first time, like I didn't know what I was smoking. Like I wasn't like, oh, I'm smoking heroin. Like Like someone just like, oh, let's put this on the weed. It's super great. And I was like, yeah, and it's awesome. It's like, but your whole body, like my body felt like I was like mid orgasm, like just full tingles, fingertips, toes, full body. My head was tingling, and I was getting like little bursts of like this, and I felt fucking amazing. I was like rejuvenated, and then I went home and like it kind of like wore off after like 4 or 5 hours, and then for about like the next 3 weeks after that, we experienced some of like the craziest like paranormal shit that we have as a couple since like the Arbor Heights house.
Yeah.
Like it was yeah, I mean one of the first nights you came out and freaked the hell out of me. I used to stay up way later. I would be up till like 2 or 2:30 every night, and Lonnie was going to bed at like.
And we had a small house. It's the same layout as Arbor Heights.
Yeah,
It's just a little rambler.
That was
like
the eerie part. It was the
2
exact
bedroom,
layout.
one bath with a little living room and little kitchen. Like basic,
Yeah.
little tiny place.
And I'm up watching.
Which I miss that house. I really like.
Yeah,
that
it was
house.
a cool house. I miss that back. I miss that backyard. But yeah, I'm like up. It's like 1 in the morning. I'm smoking weed, watching TV, and you walk out of the bedroom.
After I had already gone to bed a while ago.
Yeah, you had been asleep for hours, and then you come out and freak the hell out of me.
I vaguely remember doing this, but like at the same time, I remember doing it. It's weird because it's like I remember doing it, but I don't like. But at the same time, like I don't remember everything. I don't know. Like it's weird. It's like I remember getting up and walking out there. I don't remember being scared or anything.
No.
But I walked out and I think you told me about it the next day, but I'm like, "Oh yeah, I kind of remember doing that."
Yeah.
And I walked out and you were just like, "What's up?" And the bedroom door was closed. Like not all the way, I don't think, but closed so cuz it was right by the living room and you were watching television and playing video games. And I walked out and I just stood there with like my eyes like just like in that foggy, like half closed, half open.
Yeah.
And you're like, "What's up?" And I said, "Don't close the door. There's people walking around."
Yeah.
And you were like, "What the fuck?"
I'm like, yeah, let's put you back to fucking bed right now. What the fuck?
And then I just turned around and walked back to bed and went to bed and you're like,
And then we started having similar things that happened at the Arbor Heights house happen. I started seeing, a shadow person walking around in the back room. Our bedroom, we would see it depending on what angle you would see. And then...
Well, because we still had that glow ball.
Yeah, the glow ball.
The Buddha glow ball.
It's like a Buddha statue that holds one of those plasma laser balls.
And we had that at Arbor Heights, and that's what we would see something crossing in front of, because the ball would disappear and then it would appear. And that's what was happening.
It's always lit up, and like the only way to recreate what you saw was to like have it on in a all dark room, and just have someone walk in front of it, and that's exactly what it looks like. Yep. It's almost like there's like no other way around that. But yeah, I think it was either the next night or a couple nights later. There was just a weird new energy and feeling in the house that like we kind of thought we had got rid of because we hadn't really had anything since Arbor Heights. We had a house that we lived at for a year in between that really had not much paranormal anything happen.
Well, and I think this flowed kind of in with our date night episode, which was our last episode we just recorded, where I thought he had brought things home from Merchant Cafe.
Yeah, this was all a very similar time period. And you thought,
no, I brought something home from...
Yeah, I'm pretty...
From Float Tank.
Yeah, and so I had something... I was watching TV. It's like 1 a.m. Something came up right behind my ear and went... Just a heavy sigh that I felt it. I fucking jumped up, turned around thinking that you got me so good.
That would be a good one.
And no one was there. And that was the most scared I've ever been in my life from a ghost or entity or
like anything unknown.
Anything unknown. Like it was fucking terrifying. Just a deep breath in my ear.
Yeah.
Freaked me the fuck out. And is that where the shower thing happened, or was that the Arbor Heights? Did we already talk about the shower?
No, it happened in Shoreline.
Yeah, so I'm watching, once again, I'm just watching TV. Lonnie's in the shower.
I was in the shower.
And Lonnie walks out, and, I hear the shower running, but I see, out of the corner of my eye, I see Lonnie walk out of the shower, like, in a towel into our bedroom. And then I'm like, hey, honey, I'm like yelling her name, like, to see why she left the shower running, or like what she was grabbing. Maybe she was getting new shampoo or something.
Because you said I was like also drying off.
Yeah, it's like you were like had the towel like wrapped around, like getting out. And then like as I'm calling to you, like you're like, what? And then you're still in the shower.
Yeah, I'll never forget that because I was in the shower and you were like, and it was sliding glass doors, and I slide the glass door open and I said, yeah, what's up? You know, I just thought you had a question, and
When I saw that you were still
and
in
you
there.
go, did you just get out of the shower? And I was like, no. And your face said it all. And I go, why? And you're like, no reason. And I go, and I was like, no. I was like, fucking tell me. I was like, don't do that to me.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I just saw you get out of the shower and dry off.
Yeah.
And I was like, nope, no, you didn't.
Yeah, and then so hold on everybody, real quick. Had to open the sliding door for the puppy. But so then the last thing that happened with that whole scenario, I'm probably missing a few things, but it was a lot of just the normal haunt shit, seeing shadow people, weird shit like that.
Well, that's when you saw me get out of the shower and everything, right before that was when I was cleaning the living room. And this is why I thought we'd brought something home from the merchant, but it was same time. And I was cleaning up the living room and I grabbed something off the coffee table and I turned to bring it into the kitchen, and like I look up into our bedroom, but I keep kind of like with my movement, it was so fast, split of a sec, so fast. And the light was on in our bedroom, and I saw a tall black figure walking across our bedroom. And I go and I set the dishes down, and I was like, that was really weird what I just saw. And I walked back, and I kind of peek my head into the living room, and I kind of slowly turn the corner, and I'm like, Steven? And you don't say anything, and I call your name again. And then you open the bathroom door because you were in the bathroom, and you were like, what? And I go, were you just in the bedroom? And you're like, no, I've been in the bathroom. And I'm like, yeah, I think you were pooping. Man, you're pooping. And I was just like, who the fuck did I just see walking in our bedroom?
Yeah. So, yeah, just weird shit like that happened for like 2 weeks, maybe 3. Not every day, but it was just like
just things.
Something, and the dogs reacting to things too. But then kind of the last night that anything happened with that, I got a weird feeling, and I was like, fuck it, I'm going to bed. And then so I went and got in bed. You were already asleep. And then as I'm laying there, I just started like hearing shit out in the living room. And I remember I get up, I'm in my typical me, I'm in my underwear, I grab my machete, I go pop in, nothing's there. And then, go back in, and then it sounds like at one point somebody's just walking around the house wearing like swishy pants. Like
that's the best.
Yeah, it's the most random
90s ghost.
It's the most random shit ever. It's like hammer pants. Like if you grew up in that time period,
sweatsuit.
Yeah, or like those swish suits, like that sound of just like windbreaker on windbreaker.
It's so annoying.
And, yeah, it's annoying, and it sounded like someone was just walking around the house in that. And I kept getting up and looking, and there was nothing there. I remember I checked the front yard, make sure there was no and this was just kept happening every time I would lay down. And then I heard it walk or whatever it was. I heard swish, swish, swish. And then at the time we had a couch that
leather.
It was leather, and when you sat on it, like you could hear it. Like even if you just adjusted a little bit, like it was kind of a creaky couch and the squeaky leather. And then I hear what sounded like, somebody sitting down on the couch. And then I start hearing the sound of like the Xbox controller like clicking, like someone's mashing buttons. And it's just like click, 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 and I know that sound. And I got up, and like I can't say whether or not like the Xbox controller was where I left it. Like it wasn't, nothing was turned on, anything. And so finally after a while, and like you kind of just sleep through all this, luckily, but then wake up in the morning. I'm telling you, and we have two of our friends over at the time, our buddy Mexico and his girlfriend Lindsay, and I remember we're telling them this story, and.
They were so skeptical.
Yeah, they're always so skeptical.
They're just like, no,
they're
I
good
don't
friends of
know.
ours, but they're just like listening to us, hearing us.
They're the kind of friends that will call you out on your bullshit, and they'll just.
But then our buddy Mexico,
you have a good discussion.
our buddy Mexico was just saying, he's like, "Oh yeah, bullshit." He's like, and then this is where like I've never really seen. This is like I've never seen anything like this. Where it was like perfect validation. Where he's like, if something's here, like, and he said this jokingly, where he's like, "Yeah, well, if something's here, then fucking do something," and like literally almost on command across the room, a picture frame that had been, it's on like a little thingy on our entryway.
It was on an entryway table, and it was a frame, and it had been propped up for months.
8 months.
Months. Just
and
propped the same, never moved.
And then as soon as he said that, it just slid down like it got pushed over.
It slid down, and in a way that wasn't like... I remember it fell in a weird way. It wasn't like it just slid forward.
Yeah.
Because a bunch of stuff like moved with it when it moved forward.
It was in a way that it would have had to have been pushed from the top, not slid out from the bottom, if that makes sense.
Like it slid, yeah, it was.
And so that
it slid was just weird.
Yeah.
We're like, that's not.
So that freaked them out. And
yeah, they didn't like that at all.
I think they were already kind of on their way out. Like I think they were just stopping in to buy weed from me, honestly, when we told them that. But then, so the next day, because I work from home. I've worked from home for a long time. I put my acoustic guitar on the ottoman, and I'm just there by myself, and I put the acoustic guitar down, and I say out loud, and this is the first and really only time of like this openly just talked to whatever is around me, and I put my guitar down, and I just say, if something's here, I want you to play a note on this guitar. And I like strum it. I'm like, it's the easiest thing on the planet to make noise on. I'm like, you can tap the wood, you can tap the string, you can tap the metal. I'm like, make noise. And I set it down and nothing happens. And I'm like, do it, you fucking pussy. And nothing happens. And I'm like, yeah, do it. And nothing. I'm like literally yell for like a minute. And then nothing happens. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. And I'm like, no, get out of here and never come back. And then like literally nothing, borderline nothing has ever happened to me ever again. And so
maybe you just had a curious like subconscious thing follow you, and I don't know, like,
and so
because like I
have a lot of
my only weird thing was seeing the person walking and then randomly telling you not to close the door because people were walking around.
It was definitely a period where I, honest to God, thought I was going crazy.
Yeah.
And like I was talking to a few buddies about it, and they're like, "Hey man, you like shouldn't. Maybe this is because you did LSD, and now you're going crazy."
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Maybe, but as I've said before, I think drugs are things that break down the veils of that kind of thing. But, anyways, like, yeah, that was just. It was one of the last things I'd ever experienced. The next house, I had one little thing, but it didn't have to really do with me. And that was just when a friend proved that she was a little more in tune than we ever wanted to give her credit for. But we'll talk about that another day when we talk about crazy people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or not crazy, but you never know. Hope you guys enjoyed that story. It's definitely a creepy one. I just if anyone feels discouraged to try floating, I've floated like 2 or 3 times since then and never had anything remotely close to that happen to me. It's just been a very relaxing and meditative experience.
Crazy that it was when you were sober when you did it too.
I was completely sober. Yeah.
Well, I have not done a float tank before, but I am I really want to try one.
Yeah,
they're
getting
great. More and more open to the feeling. I know I have friends that have tried it for they find it meditating and relaxing for like a friend of mine that I won't name, but went through an experience of losing somebody close to her and used it as a way of meditating and getting close to that person that had passed away. And so, I mean, a lot of people can use it for different reasons. And so I just kind of want to just relax and just kind of see where I'm always so stressed that I just kind of want to see where my mind goes in a relaxed and like meditative state.
Yeah, I definitely suggest it to really anybody. It's like people are so willing to go get a massage or like or take a pill. More people are willing to take a pill than get a massage. When really, I mean, a lot of things could be fixed with like floating and meditating. Meditating is
just kind of like relaxing and let your body kind of take its own course of natural relaxation and healing.
Yeah, meditating is just, it's good for your mind. It's like, it's good. You need to shut down. But
anyways, well, we hope you liked this episode. Don't forget to find us on Facebook or Instagram under the We Believe You Podcast. Email us your stories at the We Believe You Podcast at gmail.com.
Find us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all that good stuff. Once again, if you check out our sponsor, the Treehouse Joint, go to their website. If you book a stay with them for $100 or more, you can get a 10% discount if you enter the code WeBelieve. Treehouse Joint, awesome place. If you want to smoke weed and hang out in the treehouse all day, it's fantastic. Check them out.
Also, check out our other sponsored Doom Tooth.
Or Dead Northern.
Dead Northern, designed by Doom Tooth.
Yep, and Dead Northern has nice, awesome, gloomy hoodies and t-shirts.
And beanies.
Just an awesome, cool clothing brand that we like to wear and promote up here because we like the designs. It's super cool. Check all that out. And thank you for listening. We will be back in a couple weeks. We're trying to do this like once every 2 weeks. And from here on out, people, this podcast is really up to you. Send us your stories. We're going to keep finding things to talk about, but you guys know
I have something interesting possibly for the next one.
Oh, cool. And we've been in talks with a lot of cool people. We just got to like figure out how to Skype them properly so that you can hear them as good as we can.
Also, go on and review us. Get us some reviews on iTunes so we can get some more downloads, more listeners, and we definitely want to hear from you what we can do better and everything. And we're saving up to hopefully buy new equipment soon so we can kind of like mix and master these a little bit better. But but we do want to hear from you of how we're doing so far. So we appreciate that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, and don't forget, we believe you.
Yep.